to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 8th day here of May. Got a great show with you for tonight here. The Phoenix Suns, folks. The Phoenix Suns have fired their head coach here. I'm looking to see what this guy, Frank Vogel. Yeah, fired Frank Vogel. Adam Silver. Lost a lot of respect for him today in this, in the way the disciplinary action was handled for Patrick Beverley in that situation. Plus, Knicks lose another player. OG Anunoby, I guess, he's going to be banged up. That's a tough break for the Knicks, who are still up 2-0 in this series against. I don't know why that keeps jumping. Maybe we got a bad internet connection on that series against the Indiana Pacers. And I've got a few other news and notes, including my trip to Tampa last week. I want to talk about the setup there in their sports town and the Devil Rays, what I thought about that stadium and driving around that area and whatnot. So first, let's take our first and only break, and I'll be back here 49 seconds. We'll hit the ground running, hopefully without any jumps here on our signal here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to Sports, that is Sports with an S, another S, Scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then. Looks like I'm back here live. Okay. News just broke this afternoon. Bucks guard Patrick Beverley was suspended for 4 games without pay for throwing a basketball multiple times at fans, hitting one woman in the head, and a fan threw the ball back at him, and he threw it again at another fan there and hit that other fan. So this is what ESPN says. Again, suspended 4 games without pay for throwing the ball multiple times for an inappropriate interaction with ESPN producer. Also, Melinda Adams, that was the woman I told you about that was just trying to simply put the microphone close to him so they can pick up a soundbite for ESPN. He says, if you, ma'am, get that mic out of my face if you don't subscribe to my podcast. So he starts talking to another gentleman. She don't even ask him questions, and he continues to talk, and then the woman doesn't move away. So he looks and says, ma'am, please get that out of my face a second time. And of course, the woman is intimidated. Not with the way the world is now, we don't know who's going to stand up to this guy if he happened to assault her or whatever. So she steps out of the way. But yeah, 4 games for that. 4 games for all that. This article goes on to say, after that Game 6 loss last Thursday, and it also notes the Indianapolis police have announced yesterday, that they were opening up an investigation into the player and citizen altercation after he threw the ball multiple times in the 4th quarter, and ultimately, so he hit a fan. He hit a woman in the head who had nothing to do with it. Okay, he hits a fan. They throw the ball back at him, not in a menacing way. He hits another fan. Then he intimidates female reporter, all because they lost. They got beat. The reports are that what the fan that he was irritated with, who didn't even hit the ball, well, he intended to hit the ball with, said it was towards the end of the game. They were getting beat. They were getting closed out of that series. This is the Bucks series where they didn't have Damian Lillard, didn't have Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they were just outmatched by a better Indianapolis Pacer team there. But one of the fans hollered Cancun on 3. And when they're doing their last timeout, you have a little thing. And that irritated him. I mean, there's no excuse for what he did. There's always fans taunting. I personally would like for there to be have some kind of cop or security officer close by between the fans and the bench. I don't know why they don't. Maybe that'll change after today, after this incident. But all that being said, the fact that, and listen, I don't. When I look this up about who's in charge of corrections or disciplinary action, however you want to state it, it comes up as Adam Silver, the commissioner. Then another ESPN says a lot of that is on Joe Dumars. Whoever's in charge, ultimately, I do believe that it's on Adam Silver to have the final say in something like this. Okay, I do think it's ultimately up to him. Listen to what Barkley said after the game. Charles Barkley, who's had his own share of run-ins with in the NBA during his playing career. Now, mind you, Beverly is like 35 years old. He's not some 19-year-old young player. This is not his first game in the NBA. He's been around for a while. Listen to Charles Barkley last week when this happened.
Meantime, we've talked about Pat Beverly in the course of this series, and you even said, love watching Pat Beverly play. Yes. Because he brings energy, brings an edge to the floor if he doesn't cross the line. But tonight, it appears, we don't know the circumstances, but it certainly appears he crossed the line.
Oh, he hit that lady in the head.
Throws a ball in the stands.
He hit that lady
back, and he fires it back.
Oh, he gone. He gonna get suspended.
Yeah.
Man, he hit that lady in the head.
That'll be next to.
Obviously, he was trying to hit that guy. It don't matter who he was trying to hit. Yeah. You can't hit no lady ever. Yeah. And then
you can't throw a ball at a fan.
I understand that, but you're like, listen, I've done stupid stuff, and and I got criticized. That's just wrong. He gonna get suspended for that, and that's gonna be a good one too, because he didn't do it once; he did it twice.
Yeah, no doubt. Don't expect that from a 35-year-old, 12-year veteran.
I don't expect that from.
That multiple media outlets said that this would probably be a year-long suspension. Multiple media outlets after this happened just last week. So my thing is, and I said this on the intro here, in the title here. I talked about last week about Pat Riley, or yesterday, excuse me, and I just made the cut today, about Pat Riley saying that during the press conference, he criticized the NBA's 65-game rule that requires players to play at least 65 games to be eligible for postseason awards. He said, quote, "To me, it sends a message that it's okay to sit when you're not 100%, when no one in the league is 100%. He also said that, and I mentioned the fact that I played this soundbite. Let me see if I've still got that. I'll play it again from yesterday about Jimmy Butler, a guy that needs to be available. Listen. Play this again from the Colin Cowherd show.
We have to look at that, making that kind of commitment, okay? And when do we do it? I mean, we don't have to do it until 25, actually, but we'll see. We haven't made a decision on it, and we really haven't in earnest discussed it. That's a big decision on our part to commit, that kind of those kinds of resources, unless you have somebody who's really going to be there, available every single night.
Yeah, accountability. That in something that Silver lacks. Colin Cowherd made a comment about Adam Silver a few days ago, that he's the dad that gives the kids ice cream for breakfast and says, "Don't tell mom." He's the light parent. David Stern, for example, the former commissioner who is now dead, rest in peace. He was the commissioner, took over in '84, right the first year that Michael Jordan was drafted, and really made some moves to blow this game up to the global game that it is today here. He suspended Ron Artest, and there was a few other players there from the Pacers in that Pistons brawl. The Malice in the Palace was 20 years ago, for 1 year for that. For going into a fan threw a drink on him towards the end of the game, very frustrated. This was a regular season game. It goes up in the fan, goes up into the stands, decking fans and whatnot. That was a huge melee. A lot of fans got arrested and prosecuted. He was suspended 86 games for that. Okay. There's 3 incidents here in one game, one day with Beverly. Knowing Beverly's past and his history here, that I am embarrassed for Adam Silver for this. That's the first time that I thought to myself, maybe he's not the commissioner of this league. I've said in the past, I've liked what Silver has done in the NBA. He's embracing gambling. He's embracing fantasy football. He did actually add the 60. He pressed to add the 65 game minimum. That's a start to eliminate this low management nonsense. Okay. The next thing they need to do is do away with back-to-backs, and they need to do away with them back-to-backs. And of course, it needs to be 3 years out of high school before a player is eligible to play in the NBA and get some have more mature players, so you're not babysitting. So my thing is, again, unbelievable week suspension. Mark my word, Pickles, within 2 years, because of what happened today, there'll be another Malice in the Palace that could top that or even more. We've got Russell Westbrook going at it with multiple fans after the games, going way up in luxury suites and stuff. And of course, hey, listen, I'm not in favor of letting fans get away with everything, okay? I don't think fans should be cursing at stadiums. But certain things, derogatory, foul language, boo and all that, that's no big deal. Westbrook, that's no big deal. But foul language, bodily stuff, sexual references, those type of comments, I'm not a fan of. I do think that they should have security, or maybe even I would prefer a police officer, but at the bench where that proximity, there's a barrier there. And if somebody gets out of line, which in this case, Cancun on 3, no, he overreacted. Jason Whitlock did a whole show of this, saying that the NBA, they hate their fans. These pro sports are taking the fans for granted. Now they're going to put some of the games on Amazon now. They're so spoiled, and so thin-skinned now that it feel like they can get away with anything. But within 2 years from this day, there'll be a major incident if something doesn't happen to Adam Silver. I really do believe that. They need, like Pickles, if you just joined, they need a Pat Riley type of accountability like commissioner who's not going to put up with that. who is absolutely, now I know that he called this lady, it's Melinda Adams from ESPN, and apologized to her. In case you just joined me, the Indianapolis Police Department is looking at this because he hit a woman in the head with a basketball. Unintentionally, but he was throwing the ball at somebody else. And I said, Ray, you really want to press charges? And yeah, if you hit me, if you hit me with a basketball, and I'm not saying nothing to you, and I'm just sitting beside somebody saying something to you, yeah, I am. I'm going to press charges. You know, you gotta set the tone here. Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports. Let's see if I got this quote by him. Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports. If a fan threw a ball at a player, the fan would be immediately ejected and never allowed back into the game. And I'm okay with that. There's fans that were banned for life after that Malice in the Palace thing back in 2004 or 2004 here. You know, that's what Doug Gottlieb says. He says, quote, if a fan threw a ball at a player, the fan will be immediately ejected and never allowed back in. Even more so, you can't throw a ball at a fan. And Adam Silver allows that to happen. That set a precedent today. My guess is he would have gave Ron Artest 10 to 15 games for that, for going in and just laying out fan after fan after fan. I mean, it was just a total melee. Steven Jackson was involved in that. Quite a few players got suspended for big chunks of the season. That was under David Stern. You know, it's called correction for a reason. And, you know, again, I've mentioned this before. Before, that people like him are guys, just people I've known over the years. People like Patrick Beverly are guys who never had been disciplined by their parents. They never had a dad to discipline them. And quite frankly, going back to my school days, my elementary to middle school to junior high, even to high school, those were the kind of guys. I don't advocate violence now at my age, but those are the kind of guys like Patrick Beverly, bullies. When things don't go their way, they feel like they can take it out on everybody because never been held accountable. I go upside their head, you know. Then we're probably cool after I go upside his head a couple of times. But that's what he is, you know. He should have been made an example out of in 4 games. I'm sure Silver's going to hear it. He's going to hear it. I'm curious of what Barkley's going to say tonight at halftime of the games or whenever they come back on TNT. But I do think that there's going to be some real criticism for that. Adam Silver, that's the first time that I thought maybe I've lost a lot of respect for him for that. And I would be okay with putting a guy like a Pat Riley as the new commissioner of the NBA. Pickle says, slam the jail door for 10 days, get his attention. Yeah. I mean, and I understand. Listen, I'm okay with getting rid of fans. I just mentioned that about fans. I don't think fans should touch the players. I don't think fans need to be walking on the court either. He said, Pickle says, David Stern had a great management style. Yeah, I agree. He thought the players were over the top in the way they were dressing, unprofessional, and he put a dress code in, and that helped the image. That helped the image of the league here. He put that in about 20 years ago as well. Forget the money and go to court. Pickle says that was assault and battery. He says if that revenue gets cut, then they'll get your attention. Yeah. And here's the thing. The NBA, and, you know, I hear guys like Colin Cowherd talk about this all the time, that back in the 70s, the games were on tape delay, okay? The ratings were so bad that they were on tape delay. They weren't even live. They had a drug problem in the NBA. They didn't have any really dominant teams in the 70s. It was a team every other year before the new commissioner in 84 came in, which was David Stern. Then we had the Michael Jordan. There was not a lot of accountability. We're going back to that in a sense. The ratings in America have been very low. Now, some of the stuff over the web, yes, some of that stuff trends, but actual concrete ratings, Caitlin Clark, they 3 and 4 times some of the ratings in the NBA now. The ratings are way down. The NBA was recovering from the nonsense of 2020, writing all those social justice warrior woke remarks there on the jerseys and on the courts here, saying, you everyday fan who pays our salaries, that's 50 times more than yours, you're the problem with society. That victimhood mentality. So Silver wises up, he gets all that crap off the floor, things kind of lay low. You get a smart comment, political comment from a Steve Kerr or a Greg Popovich every now and then. But other than that, over the last 3 years, things have been pretty quiet other than these light type. Remember Draymond Green? I mean, nothing practically for him. Laying out a player. I think he got, 2 games for that in practice. It was on camera, punched his own teammate out. He does get suspended after getting 2 players in headlocks. I want to say one of them was Rudy Gobert, and the other one was Nurkic from the Phoenix Suns. Slap on the wrist. I mean, this is embarrassing. This is an embarrassing day. And remember, Adam Silver, this is the guy who kicked Donald Sterling, and I was okay with that. A lot of people weren't. Some of my black friends thought that was BS for Donald Sterling getting kicked out of the league for making some racial remarks that were really bad. I heard those recordings back in 2014. Now, 10 years later, yeah. So it is what it is. Okay. Pickle says ESPN will threaten that girl's career. Probably. Michael Jordan said half the guys played the first year. Yep. They said that in the documentary. Yeah. And the Last Dance documentary. I mean, you just don't want the players to run rapid like this, and obviously it's a players league, and I get that, but you could take your lead back if you want to, ownership. You could take your lead back. You own the team, Speaking of this, the Suns fired Frank Vogel today. First year. Fired Frank Vogel after 1 year. And I got this off of ESPN as well. Fired Frank Vogel after being swept in the first round. That doesn't look so bad right now that Denver's down 0-2 to Minnesota as well. But the Suns have fired Coach Vogel 11 days after the team was swept out of the postseason's first round. Former Bucks coach Mike Budenholzer is the Suns' target to replace. Budenholzer, remember, he won the championship there with he won the championship with Milwaukee. Now, they got swept last year, and, of course, that's when they made their coaching change. They've made 2 changes since then. Budenholzer. But this also notes the early exit. Vogel's 49 wins with the Suns, a tied for the second most by a coach in which was his only season with the franchise. Other coaches were Ime Udoka in 51 back in 21 and 22. He had the employee scandal where he was supposedly having an affair with one of the staff members. Frank Vogel, of course. You got a guy named Frank McGuire back in 61-62, only coached 49 games with the Warriors, and Paul Silas with the Hornets back in 03-02. So this was one of the quickest firings in the NBA. I would throw Doc Rivers, should be in there. That was just a really bad hire as well, but nothing has come about that. I've said before, normally, if it's me, I would blow this team up, including Booker. There's rumors that he wanted to go to the Knicks. I'm the Knicks. I don't want him. I do not want Devin Booker. But as far as Bradley Beal is concerned, as far as Nurkic is concerned, and Kevin Durant, 37 years old, is concerned, you want to break all that up and get as many picks as you can. Go out and get some marginal players, kind of build around them like that, and see what you can do. This owner, again, the guy born on third base. He did play college basketball for Michigan State. He won a national championship as a player, went into his dad's business that was already up and running and flourishing. And his dad's multi-billionaire, just purchased this team a little over a year ago. And remember, during the trade deadline, not this year, but last year, they went after Kevin Durant. This year, they went after Bradley Beal and moved off of Monty Williams, obviously, as a head coach, but move off DeAndre Ayton, which I said at the time, when you got Frank Vogel here, that was a management, that was a management issue right there. All right. You did not give Frank Vogel, who done tremendous miracles with guys like Anthony Davis. And who was this other guy that he coached here? I'll find him here in just a second here. Roy Hibbert, formerly of the Pacers. That team really gave, that Paul George-led team with Roy Hibbert really gave LeBron and the Heat, who went on to win championships. Gave them a great series, pushed them to 6 games there. I would have gave him a chance to work with Ayton to get him more implemented into the offense. That would have helped them match up much better with the Minnesota Timberwolves. That was a general manager issue. That was not a Frank Vogel issue. You know, Vogel, like his last job, he's getting paid for 2 jobs he's not working. He was pushed out as a fall guy for the Lakers. Then he was pushed out as a fall guy for the Phoenix Suns. And there were reports that you can hearing from the other locker rooms because these guys didn't want to play. They don't want to check out. They've got guaranteed contracts. They've got a catering, pandering owner or NBA commissioner here. They're losing ratings left and right. Sometimes I don't even want to talk to NBA, you know, but I grew up watching it. Basketball was my first love. I'm not going to give up on it that much, but it does make me sick at the way some of the things are handled in this league, given to these guys who don't want to. And that's why I think that although they're starting to get really injured right now, that's why I think that the Knicks have overachieved a lot. And that's why I think they're so popular. Yeah, that brand helps, but this group, they play their guts out. They go after loose balls. Their team, they play as a team, you know, and quite frankly, their core guys went to college multiple years. Well, they played together at college at Villanova. Dante DiVincenzo, sharpshooter last night, you know, Jalen Brunson, and of course, Josh Hart there. All of them, now they are getting worn out, and that is a good transition. Pickle says, the Knicks are playing their starters 40 minutes. They're going to be some more depth, soft owners, soft players. Yeah, these owners are young guys. They're young tech guys. They're not old school guys like the NFL. that it embrace the whole culture in the NFL is different. You know, the culture is you play hurt, you play through stuff, you play as a team. Although you're going to have divas, you got these diva receivers in the NFL, quarterbacks with massive egos, but it's just so different. What can we do for we instead of what can I do for me? You know, trading away your top rebounder is pretty dumb. Yeah, I think so too, Pickles, with that DeAndre Ayton there. Rim protector. Okay, now the Knicks. Let me make sure I don't know if I even screenshotted it. Obi-Wan Kenobi. AJ Anunoby, I think that's his name. Let me make sure I got this right. OG Anunoby has a left hamstring strain. He has strained his hamstring. Make sure I get that out right. He's going to be out for the Pacers in Game 3. The Knicks have been a good story. You know, they play great team basketball. They play their guts out. Carlos, who comes on here, and he's going to give me I'll give him credit. Excuse me. I'm going to give him credit tomorrow about calling this shot right here. You know, Thibodeau does play his guys too long. It's a trust thing. It is a trust thing. He just don't trust certain players, and he leans into his players that score points, hustle, and stick with the program. Josh Hart, we know about Josh Hart, obviously Brunson, and Vincenzo. Excuse my tongue-tied there. They're all playing way over 30 minutes, and in some cases 44 or 45 minutes, especially Josh Hart. Now, these are all young players. Now you've got Anunoby out. Mitchell Robertson's out. Anunoby's not going to play. So I do think the Pacers are going to win tomorrow night. They'll probably win in the blowout, Pickles. Brunson went out in the first half, came back in the second half. Everybody's cheering him like he's Rocky Balboa, which I love the guy for it. So you already got Julian Randle, who's already hurt, didn't even play in the postseason. So they're falling apart, and there's a chance that the Pacers could come back and win this series. So they're a team that's going to have to get depth, and they're just simply running there. He's running the guys ragged. I do believe in that style of coaching, playing hard, grinding. That is very Pat Riley, but so will Phil Jackson. He'll push you hard, but you got to know when to pull the guys back in. And I remember Phil saying that. I'm not Pat Riley. You got to know when to lay off the throttle just a little bit. You don't want to be Phoenix soft. You don't want to be Adam Silver soft, right? But you got to manage these players and be able to use your bench if you're going to go with that extreme aggressive style. They're just not big enough. They're going to have the slower pace. They need forwards. They need a guy like a Bob. They've got draft picks, and they're going to have money this year. They need a guy like, say, for instance, if Milwaukee decides to go ahead and get rid of Giannis and get rid of Damian Lillard, which I think they probably should, honestly. Even though I like Giannis, I think he'd probably be better fit somewhere else right now. And Lillard, that is not a good fit whatsoever. These guys are post 30. But if I'm in the Knicks, I would love to get a guy like a Bobby Portis, Pickles. They need a forward like that to go out there and bang up and get those rebounds and help get your point guard the basketball back. I know that Jeffrey Deskovic mentioned Kevin Durant. I will say this about Durant. If Thibodeau could pull back on him and not play him much in the third quarter, just enough to get the stay fresh and keep his legs warm, where he's not tightening up and getting any kind of cramps and putting him in harm's way. If you could play him about, I don't know, 18 to 30 minutes, closer to 30 minutes a night, but in the playoffs, you really want to use a guy like that about last 6 minutes. He would be great. He would fall in line with this culture, I think. He's not a leader. He's a follower. He's always been a follower. He's not communicative, but he is a long 6'11". I don't know how tall he is, but he's got a heck of a wingspan. He would be a good guy to fire out there and get mid-range jump shots when you need a basket there. They're a team that needs to slow things down. You know, remember that famous sound bite? You could sounds of the game. You can hear 10, 11 years ago, back in 2011, you can hear a Tom Thibodeau with the Chicago Bulls telling Derrick Rose and the team to breathe. That's what he needs to tell this team. Like I said, I don't think they're going to get, if they do win this series, God forbid. I mean, it would be nice. I like the Knicks. I think they're great for the league. They're going to get beat by Boston. I mean, their depth is 8 up at this point. You know, they may not even win this series, but he's going to have to take the foot off the accelerator just a little bit. They're right there. They're right there. They need a player or two, a Bobby Portis type. They need a forward. They need just a heck of a – they could use a Naz Reid type of player. Somebody like that. A six-man, a forward, but somebody to fall back when they need to fall back and kind of take that pressure off of Brunson, you know. And then when you got these players in, again, you can slow down. These players go out. These new players that they bring in, whether it be a Durant or a Portis, you know, someone like that, just with a stretch forward, whatever you want to call it. I know they got a lot of names for it. And just use those players when you use them. Everything else will fall into place for the Knicks. If not, other than that, they're simply Rick Carlisle, Pickles, this says got tossed for nothing. He get tossed just now, Pickles? Oh, wait. He is the Pacers coach, right? I thought you were telling me some breaking news here. But anyways, you all get what I'm coming at here. But we'll see what happens. We shall see. Owuku Saki. All righty then. Let me go through any more news and notes that are going on right now as we speak. Caitlin Clark, by the way, she's been just drafted. And I don't even think this is a preseason game with the Indiana Fever. And she's going through 3 or 4 defenders scoring points. You've got other teams selling out. The Connecticut pro team has sold out, never before, just because she's coming into town. I mean, that's unbelievable, you know. What else did I have noted here? By the way, I mentioned the Tennessee Titans having one of their best wide receiver classes, group, whatever you want to call it, most talented since for 21 years ago, back in 2003, when Steve McNair led the team, had an MVP season. It is expected, according to Taryn Davenport, the Titans expect Treylon Burks to carve out a role regardless of the receiver addition here. So he's going to be a part of this team. Okay. He will be a part of this team. Let me play this. This is also Will Levis today. I guess they're having their mini camps. Will Levis today said that he and Brian Callahan have sat and watched a lot of Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, even Peyton Manning. to kick off install period. I'm looking forward to the next one. This might not be great sound, but Will Levis today at the press conference.
Mindset of I'm the coach. I think it's just, for one, earning his trust as a player, and then I feel like once we were able to get to that point, I do feel like there's a friendship there, but I've never really had that. I feel like where it's like a friend of the coach, you always have that like dynamic of like he's the boss and I'm his worker, but he's done a good job of coming in with the mindset of like, hey, yeah, I'm the coach. What I say goes, and I'm going to tell you guys what to do, but I'm also here for you guys and to talk about anything. So I feel like I've been able to talk with him comfortably about other things other than football. So he's been great in that way.
Knowing how much he's worked with Burrow, with Peyton Manning, Stafford, those guys, like, does that come up in conversation, or even are you watching some of the things that he did with those guys with him?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, all the tape we watch from the installs to even just the individual drills, it's Joe, it's Matt, it's Peyton. It's cool to see those guys and know that they've been in a system at least similar to this, or very similar to this, and been able to have great success. So it's big shoes to fill, but I want to be that next guy and get to that level. But yeah, I don't want to be them. I want to be me, right. But I want to perform.
Yeah, and I like what Terwin said there, that the reporter there, ESPN reporter that covers for the Tennessee Titans, he says that they sit and watch a lot of Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford, and even Peyton Manning often install some type of offense like that. See, that was my issue before. That was my issue with the Vrabel and these defensive-minded head coaches. They don't put that type of effort into the quarterback. They don't put that type of importance, that sense of urgency into protecting the quarterback, getting the quarterback developed, getting the quarterback the proper weapons to be successful in this league. And you see a guy, now, I don't know how good a coach Callahan's going to be. He could be a total disaster, or he could be a Sean McVay type of coach. We don't know. But I do like the fact that the teams that do put that type of energy in and around the offense, into the quarterback, with help from their general manager. For example, look at the Detroit Lions. Look at what they have done with Jared Goff, okay? Look at what Jared Goff has done with two teams now. Two teams. He's got to the Super Bowl, and he got to the NFC Championship game last year with two different teams, with two offensive coaches here. Dan Campbell, former tight end, and, of course, Sean McVay with the quarterback background, didn't think that he could get over the top there with the Jared Goff. But those two offensive coaches really emphasize Brad Holmes and, of course, Dan Campbell getting their line right, getting multiple tight ends, moving off running backs, going out, drafting another running back pretty high there, and Jamar Gibbs, which turned out to be a big hit, and picking up a Sam Laporta at the tight end position. They just re-signed Penei Sewell, who is elite right tackle there. Taylor Decker at the left tackle there. They're good at center. That is something that you don't really see a Mike Vrabel doing. You don't see. I'm just now hearing that the Steelers might have a good offensive line under Mike Tomlin, which they've been trying to build now. We're going on 5 years. I mean, they're drafting high draft pick. Forget about being aggressive, going after a lineman like a Kansas City did, and going out and getting Orlando Brown, which I understand he came from the Ravens, and that's a in-division rival type of deal. But these defensive guys, let's just get whoever we can. We'll run the ball. We'll We'll play really good defense. We'll give our edge rushers a fortune. We'll go out here and give some safety a fortune. And like what the Chargers did, right? Like what the Steelers did. Although I like those players, but they don't win championships. It's quarterbacks. Okay? You got to score points, man. You got to score points to win in this league. So that's another good sign. I just brought that up about the Titans today because, of course, they signed Tyler Boyd yesterday, and this is this is going to be a really good room. If this don't work out or look at least like a top 10 offense, it's on Levis. It's on Levis at this point. He's a little cocky for my liking. He has humbled up since being drafted. Aaron Rodgers was considered cocky. That's why he dropped in the draft, from what I hear. But that's why, obviously, Will Levis dropped. Got a little humble there. But now he's got a really good team. I do like the fact that he did not back down from DeAndre Hopkins when Hopkins was complaining to him about not getting the ball in a certain pass or whatnot. That when it was supposed to, he thought that should have went his way. He got right back in his face and said, okay, I'll get you next time. I'm letting you know, don't holler at me like that. Talk to me straight. I know we're in a gang full of emotions. And of course, a couple weeks later, Hopkins says, this guy's going to be a great player. This guy's going to be a great player. Yeah. I tested him. He passed the test. He didn't get scared. He's going to be a pretty good player. That's what I get out of it. Yeah. So you got to put some weapons around these guys. Got to put, Pickle says it was pot rumors. Well, I just read that or heard that he was considered a cocky player, and it turned some teams off. Alex Smith, more humble. Of course, I would have took Rodgers. They would have been able to kept their coach that had Aaron Rodgers with the 49ers, possibly. Anyways, all right. Okay, let me tell you about this here. So last week, I didn't have a show on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday last week. And so I took a trip Thursday, 1 week ago tonight. This time last week at 7:47 Central Time, I finally was boarding an airplane, Southwest airplane, 30 minutes behind, already irritated, stacked in like sardines, Southwest Airlines. I just now, first time flying in 15 years, wanted to check out Tampa, looking for a milder climate per se. So I fly down there, and I tell you, really turned off by that, really turned off by their airport, but people in that town, very nice. Coming from Nashville. Remember, Tampa had a pro team before Tennessee did. I want to say, didn't the Buccaneers play in Tampa in the 70s, Pickles, right? Late 70s? And they were dreadful. I want to say Steve Young played for them. They were dreadful. So I figured that they would be a lot bigger of a skyline than a Nashville. And Nashville is just in warp speed. Nashville got their first team in the late 90s. I want to say it was the Predators about 97, 98. Then they got the Titans, officially the Titans in 99, But comparing the two cities, the city's cool. The city, the people were really nice in Tampa. And I wanted to say this on here about this trip. I went down to St. Petersburg to see where the Devil Rays play. That's only 23 miles from downtown. So essentially, all you Nashvillians, it's like from here to the other side of Smyrna, pretty close to Murfreesboro if you're a Nashvillian, But St. Petersburg, very pretty area. It's really like a suburb of Tampa, but it's called St. Petersburg, Florida. Tropicana Field, you've got a great stadium. And I looked this up. They've only had the Devil Rays since 1998. the Devil Rays are a younger MLB franchise than the Colorado Rockies, who came in 95, if I'm not mistaken, Pickles, right? So I guess and I talked to a friend, I was telling my friend Corey about that. He said, you should bring that up on the program. I said, yeah, you got a good point. So Friday, I was looking at some jobs in the area. I was looking at some apartments in the area. Not sure if I'm going to relocate there. Now, I may put it off a few more years. It's pretty expensive down there, a little out of my range for right now, not unless somebody comes at me and offers me a big deal. But that is it's a unknown getaway for baseball fans who do not want to be crowded into a stadium. Okay. They play that Friday, 1 week ago tomorrow. The Mets were in town, and I didn't see hardly anybody there. I was there about 2 hours before the first pitch, and I was watching people coming in, and this is a great-looking stadium right on the beach practically. It was in the beach area. It wasn't right on the beach, but St. Petersburg, where that stadium is, it's a very secluded-looking area, laid-back, nice-looking place. You would not think that that's a Major League Baseball park, but it's a stadium. It's a dome. It's a closed-in dome, and baseball, Major League Baseball. When I went to New York back in 2001, 2002, everything is super expensive up in New York City. The best deal I got in New York City was getting bleacher seats for $8 to watch that great Yankee team with Jeter, those Yankees that went to World Series, back in 2002. But this team, American League East team, this Tampa Bay team that plays the Yankees. By the way, Aaron Judge, Pickles, he had a 473-foot home run today. Now, I'm sure the stadium is full, but I mean, you can watch this Oriole team, which is much improved now. The Yankees, they were in the World Series a few years ago. I want to say the Braves beat them back in 2020, right? Right. So this, they have an attendance problem because it's a hidden. People are showing friends and family pictures of Clearwater Beach, which I've been to back in probably 20 years ago, Clearwater area, but I didn't see that stadium. I was with my ex-brother-in-law at the time, But I guess what I'm saying to sports fans, Tampa's a great little town, It's not as big as Nashville, I don't think. But, it's a breezy town. They got Busch Gardens for you theme park lovers. And that now the Bucks, but by the way, the Bucks were in the playoffs again last year. The Bucks were in the playoffs last year. They're more towards the city. Raymond James Stadium's more towards the city. But I know that I forgot the name of I know their hockey team's really good. I know they've won the Stanley Cup here a few years ago. They're Tampa Bay Hockey. I'm not a big hockey fan. I don't even know the name of the hockey team. I know they're good. But Tampa, Clearwater, St. Petersburg area, people are really cool. That is a great hideout. I now know why a lot of the Major League Baseball training camps are down in this area. People are really nice. It's kind of a hidden area, even though it's in the middle of Florida. There. Kudos to Tampa there. And I tell you what, baseball fans, you don't know what you're missing. If you got the family and you're hanging out Clearwater Beach, which is very pretty. It's like nested from some of you local Nashvillians, except it's warmer. It's warmer down there. And it's always breezy. It's the Tampa Bay area. It's a very breezy area, And I'm surprised that they're being able to maintain the Devil Rays with that lack of attendance. But I still think it's a fairly young, and we're talking 26 years. Major League Baseball has been out since the 1800s. You know, it's a hidden diamond. It really is a good place to watch a ball game, and you're not crowded in. I mean, you can get you some good seats, and you can have a whole row to yourself, and watch really good baseball. That was something I would recommend to anybody. Didn't get a chance to watch a game, but just judging by the crowd, by the stadium on the outside, really clean area there. Not a bad neighborhood at all where the St. Peter's, where the Tampa Bay Devil Rays do play at. So that's my thoughts on that. Friend of mine said you should bring it up on the program, and I thought, yeah, I should. I really should. It's a pretty cool little area down there. But if you guys like the show, share the show. Got plenty of stuff. I'll have to give Carlos some credit. It looks like Thibodeau's really running these Knicks in the ground. I'll have Carlos on tomorrow. We'll ask about him, some of these firings and suspensions and all that good stuff. And, I mean, anybody knows what could happen between now and then here in the sporting world here. We'll talk about whatever is breaking between now and then. Plus, we got NBA games on tomorrow, and we got some on tonight as well. So, again, please share the show if you like the show. Got to get these numbers up. Got to start getting some revenue here from Sports Scope. Other than that, hey, have a good night, everybody. Got a good crowd tonight. Thank you, Pickles, as always. I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place, again, here on Sports Scope.